Chablis, it's special because we have a special terroir. And that's give wine very elegant, very pure, lot of fineness and crispy. You can drink Chardonnay because Chablis is Chardonnay. Don't forget this, but not every Chardonnay is Chablis.
Today, we're going to take a closer look at Chablis with Jean-Francois Bordet, the president of the Chablis Commission. I'm Jason.
And I'm Trent, and we're here on an unapologetically unprofessional, unfiltered wine journey. We're saying here, Jace.
Our saying is drink more, try more, learn more. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Jean-Francois, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much to be with me today. I am very happy to be with you, and I say hello to all the people in Australia, and I am very happy to be in Sydney with you today.
And I'm happy to be hearing from you about Chablis, and we're going to taste some great wine from Chablis as well, because Chablis is the wine that reinvigorated my love for Chardonnay. So we're keen to find out a lot more about it, the appellations, and the styles from there. At our show, we ask 5 rapid-fire questions, very quick response questions. We'd love to ask that for you.
Do you have a most memorable wine?
Yes, with my grandfather, because I take the business of my grandfather. So I drink 50 years after the vintage. I drink the 1949, but 50 years after 1949, because 1949 was a beautiful vintage, and I share with my grandfather. So
how does Chablis age?
Chablis age very well. 2 weeks ago, I was with Bill Nelson. Bill Nelson is a very famous critic about wine from Bourgogne and Chablis, of course. And we drank together a Chablis Premier Cru Fourchaume 2000. So it was 25 years ago, and the wine was beautiful.
Okay, next question. What's the last glass or bottle of wine that you've had?
Yesterday night, we drink Chardonnay from Australia, because when I travel, for me, it's forbidden to drink Chablis. Yeah. I drink all the time Chardonnay on the other country, because I would like to compare and I would like to see how is the wine. So all the time, it's the rules. Chardonnay from other country, but not from France.
How was it? Was it good?
Very good.
Okay.
Oh, really? Very good. No, very good. It was not so fresh like Chablis, but quite fresh, but very good.
This is probably going to be an easy one, but favorite grape varietal?
Chardonnay, sorry. I am so sorry. But this is the problem, because me, for example, when I drink champagne, I prefer Blanc de Blanc, because it's 100% Chardonnay. So this also Chablis winemaker is like this, Chardonnay, I think.
Are there any other unique wine pairings that you want to share?
Maybe it's not so tradition in Australia, but M with special Chablis sauce in Chablis.
And then any advice for people entering their wine journey?
So if the people come to Chablis, you must begin with the Cité des Vins et des Climats, because it's new. You can see the wine process, explain the terroir, explain the soil, explain everything about also the story of Chablis. Well, I think it's a good beginning, and after you can, the best to do it's go to see some winemaker and test. Maybe you take 8 appointments, and you on the day, and you every hour you test some Chablis to the cellar. This is the best experience.
That sounds great.
Go to the cellar.
Yeah.
Where is the Cité des Vins? Is it in Beaune? Or?
Well, you have 3 cities. One in Chablis, one in Beaune, and one in Mâcon. The biggest one is in Beaune, of course, because Beaune, Chablis is very tiny. It's a village. But we have a beautiful city, because the city was on the cellar, but very old cellar, because the cellar is come from the 12th century.
Wow. Okay. Before we talk about Chablis, I want to know a bit more about you. So I want to know your personal journey and winemaking and how you fell in love with Chablis.
So I studied in Burgundy during 5 years, and after studying in Burgundy, I was in Michigan State in USA for work, and I didn't learn too much about wine in Michigan, but I learned my English, and so it's good today because you were in Sydney and we speak English. But it was good experience, because that's opened my mind, and that's opened my spirit. And at this time, maybe I am not the first winemaker in Chablis to go to the other country, but I am maybe on the top 3 industry move. But now in Chablis, the new generation travel a lot and go everywhere in Australia, in South Africa, in USA. And that's, I think it's very important for Chablis.
And you've certainly got your presence there because you're the owner of Domaine Seguinot-Bordet in Maligny. What's special about that location and what produces great quality wine from the area?
Also, we must to explain all the people in Australia. So Chablis, it's tiny. It's tiny vineyard. It's just small than 6,000 hectares. And Chablis, it's also a small city. It's only 2,500 people live in Chablis.
Wow.
So it's Sydney is 5 million. So you can imagine. And and Maligny is very tiny. And I am at 8 kilometers northeast from Chablis, but we have on the one of the best exposure because, like maybe we will speak after. Chablis, we have a little river called Serein, and we have the sun on the morning and the sun on the afternoon. Sorry, and Maligny is we have the sun on the afternoon, so that's make wine with more concentration. And we have also, for example, for the Petit Chablis, we have a special soil.
I often have a saying is that if you stay still, you get left behind. So the question of that is, being a respected winemaker in Chablis, how do you balance tradition with innovation going forward?
That's a good question. Very good question. Thank you. But me, for example, my family, we are the oldest family. My family began to make wine in Chablis in 1590. So, 35 years ago. Yeah. So I am the 13th generation. And so, of course, we keep some tradition. But also, when I studied, for example, 30 years ago now, when I was to the school in Burgundy, with the teacher, we learned some new fashion or some new equipment. And what changed a lot in Chablis is equipment and the winery. Because before, for example, my grandfather make wine on tank. But not stainless steel tank. Now everybody has stainless steel, and we can control the temperature for the wine. That is better for the quality. And but after, what you have something very good, you don't need what is good. You don't need to change what is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if something is good, you don't want to change.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's no need to. Yeah. And I think we've got something that's good that's right in front of us here. It's the Chablis from Domaine Seguinot-Bordet. For the Australian audience out there, reading this label, how would you pronounce it?
So Domaine Seguinot-Bordet, for me it's easy because it's my name. And after you do well for Seguinot-Bordet and also Chablis, but Chablis it's easy to pronounce. Chablis it's easy to understand and to ask to have a glass of Chablis.
And is there any distinct notes that we should be picking up through this wine that kind of highlight the terroir?
If we speak about the Terroir of Chablis, so the Petit Chablis, I would like to begin with the Petit Chablis because we have 4 appellations. Petit Chablis, it's the first one. So Petit Chablis is on the top, it's on the plateau. And often the soil of Petit Chablis, it's a Portlandia. So it's younger than Kéméridien. Kéméridien and Chablis, so the wine we had today. Chablis, it's on the slope of the hill and on the Kéméridien. And so it's for that makes something special, Chablis. You can drink Chardonnay because Chablis is Chardonnay. Don't forget this, but not every Chardonnay is Chablis. It's important to say that because, and it's not me to say that, this is Rosemary George, the master of wine in England, said this sentence. And so Chablis, it's special because we have a special terroir. That give wine very elegant, very pure, lot of fineness and crispy. Yes. And today we have 2023, for example. 2023 is on the market now and is very classic Chablis. Some vintage like 2022 was more sunny vintage. But even when we have sunny vintage, we keep the freshness in Chablis because the most important is the soil. Don't forget this.
And the freshness really stands out. Let's talk about some of the misconceptions with Chablis. Are there any misconceptions that you'd like to address?
The first is many people think Chablis is expensive, but Chablis is not very expensive. Because, like I said already, Petit Chablis and Chablis, this is a wine you must drink every day for the apéro. You say apéro in Sydney or apéritif? How do you say when you
Aperitif,
want?
yeah.
Aperitif.
Aperitif. So you can have the glass of aperitif with some salmon or some oyster or even some sushi.
Yeah.
You know. So it's Petit Chablis and Chablis. It's easy and no expensive. After Chablis Premier Cru and Chablis Grand Cru. Because it's not big production, so I think it's important to keep for a special occasion, birthday or wedding or whatever. But it's important for me to drink Chablis every day, of course, and Premier Cru just sometime. That's
probably the biggest misconception around there.
Maybe some people didn't know Chablis is located in Bourgogne, but Chablis is north of Bourgogne. We are 150 kilometers from Beaune. So it's very close. It's, I said before, Chablis special terroir. It's because I remember a long time ago in Australia, some big winery make some Chablis, but it was not the Chablis from France. It was a mistake. It was Chardonnay from Australia. So
you can't call it Chablis then.
You cannot call anymore. But, and it's not so long. It was in January 2006.
Oh, quite recent.
Wow.
So it's 20 years ago.
Yeah, I just want to touch on something there. You said, so when I think about Chablis, should I always assume it's Chardonnay or the other varietals in Chablis as well? Besides Chardonnay?
100% Chardonnay. It's forbidden to grow another grapes in Chablis. This is the first rules from the Institut National of the Appellation d'Origine.
Yeah.
And if you grow another grapes, it's 7 pays. You cannot call the wine, impossible to call the wine Chablis. 100% Chardonnay.
You touched on before Petit Chablis, Chablis, Premier Cru, Grand Cru. I think that is like the classifications. Is that right? Is Petit Chablis part of that classification? Because we just spoke to Francois about the Bourgogne classification. Is it the same or different?
Almost the same. Just one difference. So like Francois explained before with you. So in Burgundy, so in Bourgogne, you have a regional, village, and Grand Cru. In Chablis, we have not regional because Petit Chablis is village. So in Chablis, we have village for Petit Chablis, Chablis, and Chablis Premier Cru, and one Grand Cru. One appellation Grand Cru with 7 climats. Because we have 7 different names of Grand Cru, but it's one Grand Cru.
And the climat is like the plot of land that's been divided up. Yeah,
completely right. The climat is special land, special exposure. And so in Chablis, we have 7 climats of Grand Cru, like I said, and we have 40 climats of Premier Cru.
We might jump to the next question. A personal favorite pairing that you have, a food pairing with Chablis wines?
It's easy to drink seafood, fish, but also you can take all the white meat. It's good with Chablis. Cheese, it's good with Chablis. After me, if you ask what type, if you come to Chablis we like with a snail, and we like with a M with a special sauce. So it's sauce made with Chablis wine.
Wow.
So it's perfect combination because you have M with Chablis sauce and a glass of Chablis. It's easy to make, but if you please come to Chablis, come to Bourgogne and come and eat some M with Chablis.
All right.
With a special sauce.
That's a pairing to try.
Okay, next question. With the new generation of wine drinkers coming in, there's younger, diverse type of people drinking wine. How do we appeal to them with the Chablis wines?
In Chablis, like I said, we are lucky because it's a vineyard go very well. Because, for example, if you go to some region in France, like maybe Bordelais, at this time it's difficult, you know. So in Chablis, you have new generation arrive and work with their parents. So he bring, and like I said already, he move, he travel. So we speak with me. Now I am not so young, but I stay young in my head. But we speak with these young people, and he brings some new ideas because he see the people see something in Australia, and he said maybe this is good to try in Chablis, and every generation brings something.
Yeah.
don't stay on. We must stay open.
You say you're old, but you still look quite young.
50 years old. 50 years old. 50 years old.
It must be the wine. It must be the wine.
And the snails.
That's right. We were talking about how do we make it more appealing to the younger generation. Also, how do we make it more visible and accessible in stores and restaurants? I feel like, particularly being in Australia, it must be a challenge. What can be done about that?
So it's for that also, for example, we make some masterclass, we organize some tasting. We did already, and we will do today again. After also, you have like you today, you have a wine lover, like sommelier, and what is good is if the people like Chablis, when you go to the restaurant, for example, maybe the sommelier must to explain, to educate the people. Take this glass of Chablis with this fish or this white meat. So in Australia, we increase a lot. We sell more and more Chablis every year. It's now a big market for Chablis. And I am sure with people like you, what we do today, your follower listen, and what today I try to give some to Australia people drink Chablis because it's the best wine of the world, but that's true. It's the best one.
Right. Next one is around sustainability. So sustainability is becoming increasingly important to consumers and drinkers. What is Chablis doing to address the sustainability and environmental challenges? I think we touched on before around kind of climate change. Like, is that a hard challenge again to deal with sustainability while managing climate change, while producing fantastic or the best wines in the world?
Again, it's a good question because for us, like you said, if we look, I am winemaker from the last 30 years now. And if I look at the domain, the last 10 years was difficult because now we can have a big frost and big hail, and we can lose all the harvest. So every 3 years now we lose almost one harvest. So for the future, for us, because everything is on the green, so the sale go very well. The people like Chablis everywhere, because we know also now more and more people drink white wine and less red wine. But for us, it's important to produce enough grapes every year, and that is the most difficult for every winemaker in Chablis. Because we lose too much grapes from the last 10 years.
Is that hard though? Like, I'm talking about sustainability, like people say, I'm trying to use less sprays, less chemicals, less this, but while still producing enough grapes to make wine.
You agree, because in Chablis, from the same from the 10, 15 years, more and more people is organic or close to be organic, but it's not so easy because we are on the north of Bourgogne, north of Burgundy, and sometimes, like for example 2024, the springtime was very difficult, humid, and you can, so it's this humid, you have mushroom, and the mushroom like mildew, this can kill all your harvest. So more and more people try to be organic, but sometimes it's not so easy.
It's probably a sign of the challenges that we have. If we think about the future, how is Chablis evolving for the future generations and kind of broadening its appeal? What's changing? What can you forecast?
For us, it's to try to have enough grapes every year. And so after, I don't want to be too technical because, but in Chablis, like I said, we have a special soil, and at this time, the global warming for Chablis this time is good at this time. But after, I don't know in 20 or 30 years how it will be for us. But at this time, it's good. So we will see. But after, the soil makes Chablis so different. Don't forget this, the soil. It's Camérigien. That's make very pure and very crispy. Chablis.
It sounds like kind of monitor it, see how it goes, and then adapt whenever there are signs.
I think the best way to understand the soil, I've seen some photos of the soils where you have like oyster shells and everything through the soil, which is fascinating. Fantastic. Okay, my last question is, you mentioned before you're trying to tell Australians to drink some Chablis. If there's a bottle that you want to pick for them to try, knowing that they've never had Chablis before, what bottle would you?
Chablis, of course.
Yeah.
Like I said already, because Premier Cru and Grand Cru, it's for special occasion. And Chablis is very mineral, very crispy. So for the Australian people, it will be safe bet. We said or
Safe bet, yeah.
Safe bet. Yeah.
Safe bet.
Yeah.
Sure.
I
Chablis,
agree with that. Yeah.
Chablis, for sure, is good wine.
Yeah.
It's very good wine. So take Chablis, you will have a lot of pleasure, and you can drink one bottle for one people.
And this is even a better wine, right? Domaine Seguinot-Bordet.
Yeah. I completely agree with that because I feel like if I'm going to an event and I'm choosing a wine, I feel very safe if I have a Chablis that everyone will enjoy it. We're probably at the tail end of the interview. Did you have any last messages for our Australian audience? Anything about Chablis, Bourgogne?
Last message. Please come. I know it's not easy because it's a long way, but please come to Chablis. We will be happy to receive you and to share sometimes because the people in Chablis like to receive people. We are like, I think in Sydney, the people is very welcoming.
Yeah.
So please come to Chablis and drink Chablis every day.
Yeah, fantastic.
I'm going to ask one last question. How does one person get to Chablis though? Is it a drive from Paris or what's the best way to get to Chablis?
So, of course, you will arrive in Paris, like you said, and after you can rent the car and come to Chablis. It's 2 hours by car, or you can take the train, and after the winemaker can pick up you to the gas station.
Oh, wow.
If you know him.
Okay.
We'll get your number a bit later. That'd be fantastic. Jean-Francois, thank you so much for joining us and sharing all the information about Chablis and letting us taste your wine. For any of the viewers or listeners out there, if you want to find more about Chablis and Bourgogne, go to the Instagram account, Vins de Bourgogne, and you can find more information there. As we like to say here, drink more, try more, learn more. Thanks all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.